One review. Book 101 is all about the books that are read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is the author of the book, The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness. No other than Miss Katharine Giovanni. Welcome to Book 101, Miss Catherine, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, I am the author of The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, but I've written 11 other books besides that. And I
11
am what they
books.
call a transformation and forgiveness coach.
Miss Katharine Giovanni, thank you so much for sharing your books to the world. So, what inspired you to write these 12 books? Is this the 12 books or 11 books?
I've written 12. I'm actually in the
Okay.
middle of writing my 13th.
Okay. So, tell us what inspired you to write Ultimate Forgiveness.
Well, the fact that I call myself a forgiveness coach implies that the universe has provided me with ample opportunities to forgive in my life. But the reason I wrote it is everybody teaches us that we need to forgive. Your minister, your parents, your teachers. Nobody teaches you how. How?
Oh, how?
And what
Yes.
if you don't want to? What if it's an unforgivable act? Then what do you do? So I teach the how.
Amazing. And what are your difficulties or struggles in writing this book?
Well, I think I actually had no problems writing this book because I absolutely love to write. It's my happy place. But I think when it comes to forgiveness, on a 10 scale, with 10 being unforgivable and 1 being the easiest person in the world to forgive, every single pop person is now thinking of their number 10 person. They're thinking of that unforgivable person. And I think that's why everybody has a trouble forgiving because they don't want to, because they're thinking about the one person that completely wrecked their world. And that's fair. But in my
Fair
world,
enough.
you don't have to forgive your unforgivable person because there's a lot of people, places, and things. And I did say places and things that you can forgive before you even get to that dumpster fire. You start with the easy ones and you work your way up.
The ultimate path to forgiveness. How do we define true forgiveness?
Well, let me tell you some principles. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want a relationship with you. I probably don't. Forgiveness does not necessarily mean repair. Just because I forgive you, and this affects 10 out of 10 people, just because I forgive you doesn't mean all of a sudden I'm giving in. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden I'm telling you you were correct. You weren't. You're still wrong, and you probably still have amends to make. The formal definition for me is I want you out of my head.
Hmm.
That's it. I want you out of my head. I want you to stop thinking about you. I want to move on with my life. That's the formal definition because the person you're mad at probably isn't thinking about you at all. They're just living their life. Buddha has a wonderful quote that hatred and anger is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies.
Beautifully articulated, Miss Catherine. Thank you so much for your knowledge. Why is forgiveness important for personal growth?
Let me give you a visual. And for anybody listening to this broadcast, I'm going to walk you through it, so it's fine. I'm about to hold a purple coffee cup in my hand to the side of my body. Now, this purple coffee cup represents anger, hatred, bitterness. It represents grudges that you're holding. So look
Yes.
at my body language. I could easily hold it off to the side. I can manage my anger. Daniel, no, this is easy. I got this. But humans irritate other humans, don't we? And if you don't take anything out of the cup, it's going to get heavier because you're going to put more anger inside of it. So now look at my body language. It's taking 2 hands to hold up this little glass of anger. I
Yes.
could still have a conversation with you. I can still live my life, but now it's starting to get into my conversations and my thoughts, isn't it? Because it's starting to hurt. And if I continue to hold on to it and I continue putting stuff into this cup without taking anything out, now I'm holding the cup in front of my face. My anger is taking over my entire life. I'm missing opportunities. I'm missing money making opportunities. I'm missing my dream significant other because all I can concentrate on is the anger inside the cup. So, by using my step by step system, I'm going to take you through a 7-step system that's going to start with the easy ones. Now, look at my body language. Now, I'm holding it back off to the side. I haven't forgiven my unforgivable people yet. I've just forgiven the easy ones. And now my life is starting to open up again. I'm starting to pay attention again. That's what forgiveness does. It's going to remove the anger so you can live your life and pay attention again.
Let it go, people. Let it go. So, what are the some common misconceptions about forgiveness?
The biggest misconception is forgiveness is weak. It's not, it's a sign of strength. And again, I said it in the beginning of the broadcast. Everybody thinks if I forgive you, it means I'm giving in. And it does
Mm.
not. It 100% does not mean they were right and you were wrong. It just means you want to be free. You want to stop thinking about them. That's all it means. That's the biggest misconception. And then there's a misconception that we forgive and forget. Okay,
Mm.
I live in the
That's
South of the United States right now, but I'm originally from New York, and I can promise you we're not forgetting anything. However, what I can promise you is by using my system, it's going to remove the emotional charge. So you can look at that name and meet that person, and you won't care. You won't think good. You won't think bad. You legitimately won't care. And that's freedom. It's 100% freedom.
totally freedom. So, how does forgiveness differ from forgetting, as you're talking about?
You're not going to forget, but you're not going to pay attention to the bad stuff. I come from a pretty dysfunctional background. My parents were alcoholics. I tried to commit suicide in the 8th grade, on and on it went. I mean, I had come from a pretty rough background. And I used to wear my story like a badge of honor. Look what I survived. And once I gave up the story, that was kind of scary. Who are you without your story? But well, now that I've gone through forgiveness and I've forgiven a lot of the stuff in my past, I can actually look at my past and I can see the love that was there. I could see the adults that were trying to help that young kid. I could see the episodes of love. I can still regurgitate, and I'm using that word purposely. I can still regurgitate those horrible experiences if you want me to, but I really don't remember them much anymore. I just remember the love. So I'm not forgetting, but my perspective has shifted because now I'm seeing the pockets of love that were actually back there.
So, Miss Catherine, let's talk about the process of forgiveness. What are
Mhm.
the key steps to achieving forgiveness?
Well, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to write down a list of all the people you think you need to forgive. And there's worksheets and more information in the book. But I want you to sit down and write down all the people you think you need to forgive. Now, I know you're going to write down the unforgivable people first. That's fair. Do it. And then I want you to write down everybody from the time you were a kid all the way to present day. Don't judge what you're writing, just write the names down. And then I want you to rate these people from 1 to 10, 10 being unforgivable, 1 being super easy. Now, you could have 9 number fives. I really don't care. You could skip a number. I also don't care. But what I do care about is when you sit down to do it, you start with the number ones, the people you labeled a number 1, and you work your way up the list. So I want you to alone in a room. And here's a big one. I want your smartphone to be off.
Oh,
I know,
yes.
I know. Some of you are twitching at the thought of turning your phone off. There's an off button on it. Now, if you don't want to turn it off, then mute it. Don't have it vibrate because if it dances on your desk, you're gonna look at it. And all humans should not be near you. You can have the dog in the room, but everybody else should be out of the room. I want you alone. And then I want to imagine take the first person on the list, whoever your number 1 is, the easy person, the person who stained your sweater in school, the person who cut you off on the highway yesterday, the person who stole your parking spot. These are the easy people, right? And
Yes.
I want you to imagine that they're standing in front of you as you knew them then, not the adult that they are now or the person they are now. When you got mad, that's the age I want you to imagine. And then I want you to put your hand on your chest to remind yourself to speak from your heart. And I want you to say, I completely forgive Daniel. I forgive the energy around Daniel. I completely forgive myself. I forgive the energy around myself. I forgive the energy around the entire episode. And so it is. And then check in with your body. Are they still a one or did they go down to a zero? Was it a level 3 person and now they're a 2? Write the new number down. Was it a level 3 person and it's now a 9? Ooh, what happened? Your brain is a beautiful tool and it protects you. And there's a movie playing in a locked closet in the back of your head that you don't know is there. It's just playing and it's affecting your life. You just don't know it's there. And what you just did is you opened up the closet. It's like, ooh, Daniel's ready. I'm going to flood him with memories. And you're going to sit there and remember things and you're going to get mad. So you, instead of a 3, you make it a 9. But here's the thing about my system. The magic special sauce is energy. Einstein proved energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just transforms from one thing to another. And everything on our planet, including this little silver microphone, has energy around it. So you might have done the forgiveness work, but they still piss you off, don't they? They're still triggering you. Why? You didn't forgive the energy.
True.
That's the key. You didn't forgive the energy. So you are still tied to this person because you didn't completely cut the cord.
Again, people, let it go. So, how can someone forgive without receiving an apology?
Well, that's the thing. It's let's talk about your unforgivable people.
Yes.
And forgiveness doesn't mean repair. And forgiveness means I need you out of my head. So let's take one of my own number 10s, the bully in school when I was a kid. I wasn't ready to forgive the bully. That's fair. I wasn't even ready to forgive the energy around the bully. Also fair. So I picked apart the memory. Everything on our planet has energy around it. So let me give you an example. You're driving down the road, you turn left to go to work, but today you turned right, and it took you by your old grammar school. And you see it out of the corner of your eye, and by the time you get to work, you're grumpy. You're cutting everybody's heads off. Why? Because that movie you didn't know was there started playing in the back of your head. You saw the school. That's where you got bullied. So how do you get rid of that trigger? Pull apart the memory. I forgave the school and the energy around the school building. I forgave the desk, the energy around the desk that I sat at. I forgave my classroom, the energy around my classroom. I'm actually not kidding. I forgave the table, the desk, the chair, the park, the grass, the swing set, the people who stood around and didn't help me. I forgave the calendar year. I forgave 1974, the energy around the entire year. And you pick apart the memory. I still haven't forgiven my unforgivable person, but I have pulled apart the memory to the point where now that number 10, it might be a 9 now. So this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You can't get a 10 down to a 1 overnight. It's going to take a minute. It's called shadow work, and it's going to take some time. But you might get it down to a 9. You wait 24 hours, you try it again, but you're picking apart the memory.
Certainly.
So you won't have those triggers anymore. And
So,
eventually you can get the 10 down to a 9, down to an 8. It's going to take a while, but it is possible. And I
it's
still haven't forgiven that unforgivable person.
it's a process, people.
It is
So
a
let's talk
process.
about psychological and emotional benefits of forgiveness. How does forgiveness impact mental and emotional well-being?
You're going to start to feel better mentally. A lot of people have this unworthy thought, shame, which is the lowest emotion on the scale. Shame is the bottom. And a lot of us have shame for things that we have done or have not done. And we feel guilt. And it lives in our head. I mean, certainly in the 8th grade, my world started to cave in, which is why I tried to commit suicide. And you just, it's like you're sitting alone in a room in the fetal position in the corner. So as you let the light in, as you start to forgive people and forgiving yourself, hello, then the light starts to come in and you start to think, well, I am worthy. I am allowed to live in joy. I am allowed to have a life. And you start to come out and you start to notice things. You start to notice the world around you. You start to notice people who are there to help you. And that's how you come out of the pain, and you do it slowly and methodically by starting with the easy ones and working your way up to that one episode that you are completely beating yourself up for. Start on the other side. Start with the easy ones. Pick it apart.
Certainly. So, Miss Catherine, what would be your advice for those people out there who still have grudges in their life?
I would tell you that you are worthy to lead a life of happiness and joy and positivity. I would tell you that it is not your birthright to live in a refrigerator box on the street. You can live in joy. It's entirely possible. And I had somebody come up to me once and said, "I've made a lot of money and I have a lot of companies and I've done it on my bed of pain." And he said, "I wore it like a pride of joy, like I'm Superman. And that's how I built my business." Okay, let's talk about it. You have a choice of two trains, the local and the express. Both trains will get you to your destination. But the local is like getting into a hotel elevator and you're going up to the 70th floor, and some punk kid has pressed every button between 1 and 74, and you have to stop at every single floor. Or you could take the local train, you're going to stop at every single stop. You're going to be bloodied and bruised, and you're going to be a shadow of your former self. You'll get to your destination, but it's going to be painful. I was on that local train. Wouldn't you rather take the express filled with joy and happiness? Get off the local. Join us on the express.
Certainly. Thank you for the advice, Miss Catherine. I hope people out there learn from it. So, what will be your short term and long term goals in writing?
I am actually writing, this book is the first of three. And the second book I'm actually writing as we speak. And it's about how to forgive yourself. And I'm diving deeper into how to forgive the unforgivable.
Good luck to your goal, Miss Catherine, and looking forward for more empowering books like this. So, how does your book address the spiritual aspect of forgiveness?
Anger acts like a lead shield to your intuition. It's very hard to hear your intuition, that little bird in your shoulder, your gut feeling, if you're angry, because it's going to block it. So the reason you're aimless, the reason you're dating the same guy over and over, the reason you can't find your spot, the reason you can't find your dream career is because you're angry and you're so focused on your past and the anger that you can't hear that little bird in your shoulder. So by forgiving, and by forgiving even the easy ones, as I used with the purple cup, it's gonna allow you to move your anger over to the side, and you're gonna be able to start hearing that little bird in your shoulder and getting its advice.
So, what is the relationship between forgiveness and inner peace?
Inner peace is, some people say it's hard to achieve. Some people say, oh, it's easy to achieve. Inner peace for me is having the ghosts of my past not live in my head. Inner peace means I'm not constantly thinking about the dysfunction of my past. Inner peace to me, I've been sober for 35 years. And for me, it's not thinking about those skeletons that I've long since forgiven. That's inner peace for me. Inner peace for me is being able to spread love and forgiveness and help people.
Yes, help other people so that they will thrive. So, how does forgiveness empower individuals to move forward in life?
You're going to have a different perspective about life. You're going to start noticing different things, and certain things are going to happen when you forgive. The way you know you've forgiven is you can look at somebody's name and you will really won't care. But on the other side of the coin, Jim Rohn very correctly said, you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So who are you spending time with? And as you forgive, you're going to attract like energy attracts like energy. So you're going to get some like-minded people come into your life. Brilliant. We love that. But to play devil's advocate on the other side of the coin, you're going to have some jackrabbits. People that you love and are in your life now probably don't want to be with the new you. So they're going to ghost you and they're going to leave your life. I had a bunch of them leave and I've never seen them come back. Then you have the saboteurs, and they love the old you. They love the broken you. They're used to that you. So, and they don't want to grow with you. So they're going to try and sabotage you because they want to turn you back into the person you've always been. So you're the sum of the five people you spend the most time with. It's up to you who you want to spend your time with once you start on this path.
Certainly. So, Miss Catherine, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, Food 101, in its fifth season, people. Fifth season already, with my co-host, Chef Alessandro, one of the specialty chef in one of the five-star hotel in downtown Toronto. Please do listen to our latest episode. We're reading all our letter senders all over the world. So please do listen Food 101 wherever you listen your podcast. So Miss Catherine, what is ultimate lesson about forgiveness that readers should take away from the ultimate path to forgiveness?
Achieving forgiveness is easier than everybody thinks. If you start with the easy people and you work your way up, it's easy. And at the end of the day, you don't have to forgive the unforgivable. I actually believe there are certain unforgivable things in this world and they can't be forgiven. So you forgive the energy around yourself, you pull apart the memory. Forgive what you can and keep going.
Yes, forgiveness is the key to success. Let it go, people. So, Miss Katharine Giovanni, thank you so much again for sharing your books to the world. And as I said, we are looking for more empowering books like this. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your books?
You can find them on Amazon. The ebook, audiobook, and paper books are all available, or go to my website at katharinegiovanni.com. And Catherine is spelled a little odd, Katharine Giovanni.com. Thanks, Mom.
So, people, let's support Miss Catherine because if you support her, as I said, more empowering books like this to come. So, Miss Catherine, thank you for your time.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
More to come, people. See you soon.